My name is Tristan Harville, and this is the Pleiades project. Team members are Sarah Doss, Christopher Gundlach, myself, and Gary Lutwen. This is a text-based adventure game that allows you to explore the Pleiades solar system, and your goal is to return your findings to your home planet. And the way you play is like if you play Dungeons and Dragons, the game is going to tell you an environment. You're going to respond to it. It responds to what you say, and you go back and forth like that until you uncover the whole adventure. So here's our responsibilities chart. And the biggest difference is I've picked up the game loop creation here. And the reason I did that is because the natural language parser is taking a lot more time than we originally thought it was going to take. And so this needs to get done so that we can move on with our project. And so I went ahead and picked that up to make sure that we are able to continue going with our project. So here's our Project Trello I've been managing for our group. This kind of helps us stay organized and make sure that everybody's working on something, and we have an idea of who's working on what. And so it's been pretty useful for our group because we have an idea of what needs to get done, what's been done, and all that good stuff. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show us or do a demonstration for us. So here we have asking us if we want to load game. Say yes. Let's say foobar 2 is our save that we want to load. And then it tells us a scenario. You're loading into the planet that I created. This is a underwater planet. It's telling you you're underwater and that there is a interesting cave ahead. So now we can put something in. So I'm going to input move cave. So that's going to tell, I'm saying I want to move toward the cave. It tells us a little bit more about the cave and what's happening in there. And it says we notice something interesting in there, but I want to examine the cave first. So let's go ahead and look at this cave. All right, so it tells us a little bit more about the cave, and it says there really is something interesting that you should go look. So let's go ahead and enter the cave. And so we get this big text telling us there was interesting in there, and then something big took our something interesting. And so now it has left this glowing mucus behind, and we left wondering what took our interesting thing. And so at this point, I want to show you. Let's put something that's weird. This is not a command that should work, and it doesn't. And this is expected behavior so far. We were going to put a response here like invalid or something like that, but I want to pass it by the group first before I implement it to make sure that we're on the same page. But this is expected behavior. We're just going to ask for another prompt from the user. And so let's just examine the mucus. All right, and so we have an examine working there. And so this is kind of how the gameplay works, and this is how the game engine working, and that's what I've been working on. So I'm going to go ahead and quit. That's a function from our game engine that just allows us to quit the game, and um, it doesn't save or do anything like that. It just literally cuts it off. So here you're seeing the engine that I've been working on. It's pretty simple right now. A lot of it's held up by either the save functionality and the natural language parser. I'm waiting on those to be finished to implement some of the parts in here, but I've got lots of placeholders in place so that when they are implemented, I can just put them into those placeholders and we'll be good to go. And so it's just a basic gameplay loop. It's pretty important that we have this so that we can test our rooms and make sure they're functioning correctly and that we're able to actually run the game. So I've been working on this. I've also been working on this room. This is my first room that I'm working on. I'll be finished with it tonight, I'm sure. It's basically got all the functionality that it needs. I'm just creating areas for the user to explore. And so the creative side is the part I'm kind of stuck on here. But I've been gaining inspiration from just my group, how they've been implementing their rooms and stuff like that. So the creative side's been a little bit more difficult for me. But this is what a room looks like. It's based off of a generic class that we have here that we inherit. This has something I worked on with Christopher, and it has a bunch of methods that all the planets are going to be using, and we just went ahead and made it just a general one so you could just inherit it, and it speeds up our coding time by a lot, and so we don't have to spend as much time writing all these things over and over again. And so that's been very beneficial for our group. I also created a general data structure that all the planets will have individually, and it just basically holds all the information and allows the general methods planet class to just work flawlessly without having all these different data structures. We just have a standard one and it works properly when you inherit it. And so this is my planet filled out one of these. There'll be a lot more when my planet's finished, but this is just the start of it. And yeah, that's basically what I've been working on. And so the engine's kind of the big thing right now. The biggest challenge I've had is just kind of waiting on my group on their parts and kind of trying to code around that. It's been interesting. I've never had to do that before. And so I've just been trying to figure out how to do that and looked up best practices on how to do that. And placeholders is what I've figured out, or making functions that would call that whenever it's finished. Stuff like that has been helpful. And then the other biggest challenge has been communication for our group, but we finally, I think, figured it out. We figured out how to use Teams effectively, and that's been very helpful for us. And so that's an update on what's happening on my side of the project, and thank you for listening to this.